Hi, hello, and welcome. We're going to talk about Switch 2 stuff today. If you're like me, I am simultaneously over all of the Switch 2 talk, but I also can't get enough of it, so here we are. I don't want to talk about the Switch 2 itself. We're going to find out about that soon enough in April. I want to talk about what the first year might look like, and especially compared to the Switch 1 launch year. It's fun to speculate, okay? It's fun to just take these things and have fun. There's nothing serious here. I don't know anything. I don't have any insider information or anything like that. This is just stuff that I thought might happen in the first year looking back at the Switch 1 launch year. And I'm going to throw in some things that are kind of just more me wanting them to happen. So sit back, make sure the controller's charged. Let's talk some Switch 2 games, shall we? As I said before, we're getting a direct in April for the Switch 2 to go more in depth on the system. I think we'll get a launch date as well. I'm guessing that launch date is either May or June. If I had to pick one, I think June. Now, we will, of course, have cross-gen games. Nintendo has been very clear about this. They said they're going to continue to support the Switch 1 when the Switch 2 launches for a time, but we're going to see some cross-gen games. Now, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is going to be a cross-gen game. It's going to be a cross-gen game. I can almost guarantee it. But where I think it's going to be different is when it launches with the Switch 2. So this is probably just me really speculating hard, trying to wish it into existence. New 3D Mario. New 3D Mario. But it's not going to be Mario Odyssey 2. It's going to be more in line with Bowser's Fury. A while back, I read a thing about the Mario Odyssey team, the developers, and how they had so many extra ideas that they just decided we're just going to make another game with it, not add on to Mario Odyssey. I think a lot of those ideas are going to come to fruition in a Bowser's Fury style. So we're starting off this system with a bang. New 3D Mario right out of the gate. I think this is going to be a launch game. And the reason I think it's going to be a Mario game is it's too soon for a 3D Zelda game, a big 3D Zelda game. We got Tears of the Kingdom not too long ago. I don't think we're getting a new Zelda, not for a while. And very few other games have the name power that Mario and Zelda have. Speaking of name power, that Mario Kart 9 whatever was shown in the Switch 2 trailer, yeah, that's going to be coming right after. Let's say the Switch launches in June, it launches with a 3D Mario game. In July, we're going to be getting Mario Kart. With Double Mario starting off with the system, I feel like they're going to come out of the gate just sprinting. See, what I think is that Mario Kart 9 is going to be cross-gen. That 3D Mario game is not going to be cross-gen. That's going to be the thing to get people to move over to the Switch 2. Now, if Mario Kart 9 does not launch in July, maybe they do kind of what the Switch 1 did, where they gave a little breathing room and they filled it with a bunch of smaller indie titles. That is completely possible. That could very well happen again, where they have a bunch of these nice, cool, smaller titles that are specific to the system. Think of Snipper Clips, if you remember that game. That's an enjoyable little game. Maybe July we get all of that, and August we get Mario Kart 9. But it's coming out in summer. That's my guess. All right, I'm wishing this thing into existence. I want it to happen so bad. So bad. In September, we're finally going to get those freaking Zelda, Wind Waker HD, and Twilight Princess HD ports. I think what they'll do is they'll sell them separately for $40 each, or you can buy them both in a bundle for $70. But we're not stopping with the ports there. You see, I think we're finally going to get Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 in October. They'll sell for $40 each or for $70. But here's the difference. In earlier reports, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 were rumored to just be straight ports. I think that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are going to get the remaster treatment more akin to Metroid Prime 1. I think originally they were just going to be ports, but I think Nintendo saw how well Metroid Prime 1 Remaster did with that initial release, that shadow drop. There was no promotion for that thing. They just said, oh, by the way, here's this thing, here's a 2-minute clip, and it's out later today. And it still sold, I think it was 1.4 million units. That's good for Metroid. Metroid is a niche franchise. It's not a Zelda, it's not a Mario. I love it, but it's not those. So I think that they saw that and went, that's enough of a hook to get people to say, hey, why don't we play all 3 of these games in this really good remastered version, and then I'm going to buy Metroid Prime 4 when it comes out later in the year. I think that's also why we never saw Metroid Prime 2 and 3. We got 1, and those initial reports said 2 and 3 would just be regular old ports. I think they're going to be the high-end remaster like Metroid Prime 1 was. Speaking of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is going to release in December. Okay, so the Metroid Primes are going to release in October, Metroid Prime 4 is going to release in December. I kind of see this similar to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in the Switch's first year. Who would have thought that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would be the game leading into the holidays, the new game? Not a Mario, not a Zelda. Those had already come out. The Metroid series, especially the Metroid Primes, have a bigger name than the Xenoblade Chronicles games. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 sold extremely well for that franchise, releasing on the Switch in December. Metroid Prime 4 is going to come out with even more name power. I think it's going to do really well, and I think that would just be a great holiday game. So by then, Nintendo is banking on, look, you've had all of this time, you've had half of a year to get into the Switch 2 environment from your Switch. We've hopefully made it an easy transition. Here's a new Mario, here's a new Mario Kart, here's some old ports that you might like of Zelda and Metroid. Here's the big AAA looking Metroid game. You should get this for you and your kids for holiday. And I think that's how they're going to end the year. Okay, here's the crazy stuff. You ready? Let's go. We're going to be getting an F-Zero, but this is just going to be a straight port. It's not going to be a new game. It's not going to be anything crazy, not a remake, not some high-end remaster. It's just going to be a really nicely done port. Which F-Zero? I don't know, nor do I care, but we're going to get a new F-Zero, and this is further testing the waters to see if people have an interest in this franchise. I think F-Zero 99 came out, there was enough of a spark where these people at Nintendo went, maybe we can revive that one. And speaking of dead franchises, let's talk about Star Fox. We're going to be getting a new Star Fox game too, but it's not going to be what you think. I think this is going to be more akin to F-Zero 99, or more specifically, that Mario 35 game that came out. You remember that? You remember how that came out for just a little bit, and then they were like, nope, no more. It was super fun, it was great, and then they were just like, nope, it's not the anniversary anymore. Stupid Nintendo. Anyway, I think that we're gonna have a Star Fox like that Mario 35, and I think this Star Fox is gonna be based on the SNES version, and it's going to implement new things like maybe like a tweak to the boosters and how those work. So you are racing others, not 100 other people, but a smaller chunk of players. So it won't be a large amount of players, like 100 players plus. It's going to be a smaller group, but you're racing against each other in maybe a couple different levels, and they're going to tweak those levels, and they're going to tweak the booster mechanics and things like that. And then the way that it'll work is whoever gets to the end fastest with the most points and doesn't explode moves on, and then it'll whittle people down. I think this is a cool idea and could be very similar to F-Zero 99, where that just came out of nowhere and people liked it a lot. I love that game. I was so surprised that I loved it so much. So there you go. Star Fox is coming. Weirdly. Oh, we finally get GameCube games on NSO. This is probably not going to happen, but I want it to happen. The GameCube is so freaking good. The games on the GameCube were not as expansive as the Switch, but they were so good, and I would love to see those games come out again. And for a bit of negative stuff to come out in the next year, I think we're going to be seeing fewer and fewer Nintendo Directs. I think that now that these other companies have started biting on their style and they've started doing the similar Direct style stuff, and it looks almost the same as what Nintendo does, I think Nintendo's like, nope, we just want to be different because we want to be different. And maybe they'll just put stuff out via social media and YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like, here you go, by the way, here's the news. And last but definitely not least, you may have noticed that I skipped November. What could fit kind of towards the end of the year, but wouldn't cut into a single player game like Metroid Prime 4 or Metroid Prime 2 and 3? What multiplayer game? It's Splatoon. We're getting another Splatoon in November. Splatoon has become a behemoth for Nintendo, so I think that, the launch of the Switch and a new Splatoon in that first year, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. They'll sell so much money. And that's it. Those are my picks. That's what I think we're going to be getting in that first year. Now, some of that may leak over into 2026. Who knows? As long as we get GameCube games on NSO, I'll be fine. But I think the main thing here is that I feel like Nintendo's going to do something very similar to what they did with the Switch 1 launch lineup here. I think they're going to follow that first year formula pretty closely, and you can see that in all of my picks and predictions and speculations. So what do you think we're going to be getting? Or do you just not care anymore and you're just like, I want to leave a hate comment because stop making Switch 2 videos, which is fair. That's fair. That's totally fair. Anyway, until next time, bye.